of view. This is your favorite current affairs show here on Channel 1 Television. Here on The Point of View, we pick the right guests, ask them relevant questions on issues that matter to you. I've picked a very interesting guest because he's been thinking very deeply about Ghana's democracy and our society, and he's proposing 10 critical ideas for reform for a better society. He's a professor who started his work as a chemical engineer. These days, I call him a cultural anthropologist stroke political scientist. Dr. Hene Kwapong is my guest, and we're going to bring 10 cogent ideas that will transform this nation, irrespective of which government is in power. Stay with us.
Remember who we are seeing now. At risk of prostate enlargement. We remember or her 20 ebitimi prostate cancer, 5 bitimi afamu na dia obefamu.
Actually, this is not my fault.
And to wada, entina midi maniche Executive Prostate Center.
Executive Prostate Center is a unique medical center where we harmonize in-depth traditional medicine with cutting-edge science and technology to cure, to treat, and to prevent diseases like prostate enlargement, prostate cancer.
Executive Prostate Center. Madame facilities no any professional medical care.
Sisi a bibia clear system no. Ye nro ne so de natural. Into we koso afama ye.
Executive Prostate Center. My cured.
Kwame and his uncle are almost here.
Wait a minute. This one too, your friend Kwame.
Wait, Kwame. As in the same Kwame again?
Yes, Mommy.
The second coming. Into all this tension just to reintroduce that broke boy from Kaswa.
Why would you deceive the family like this again?
Now I understand the whole delay. Troll from Kaswati. Why wouldn't he be late? Or be late?
Of course.
Star 712 hash, star 712 hash. You go be the luckiest. Copy from Georgia be luckiest. From not the cause she be luckiest. Yeah, you go be luckiest. Nobody know why you're luckiest. Everybody go be that luckiest.
That's Kwame!
Send your goddamn boom. If you put it toye, so would the coming of the son of man be. Hey! Is that his car?
Dial star 712 hash. Choose your ticket. Enter your lucky number. Follow the prompts and let destiny handle the rest.
This promotion is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform.
Welcome back. So tonight we're thinking about how to make Ghana a better place. There's already a constitution review process under the chairmanship of Professor H. Kwesi Prempeh. And some of the ideas here have been presented both to that constitution committee and to the current president as well as to the former president. But we've decided to pick 10 of the best ideas around how to organize our society. My guest is Dr. Hene Kwapong. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
When I put your name up, people were asking, is it Ohene or Hene? Just to be clear.
It's actually Hene Eku.
Hene Eku.
Yeah,
so
Hene
it's
Eku.
Hene.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes.
You studied engineering.
Yes.
But now you're theorizing about social organization. What are you?
I'm a Ghanaian who actually very interested in sort of how people live and how people make decisions and how people transition through life. You know, I actually started out studying nuclear engineering. So obviously that means you study a lot of systems and, you know, solve equations and whatnot. But I love philosophy.
Okay.
So that's one of my passions. So I think that's what sort of has.
So do you have a development equation for Ghana?
Believe it or not, I actually have a model of the country that actually I put numbers in. I have all the 16 banks that I put in just to sort of see where things are going.
I see. So you said democracy is not just a political system, but a way of living together. You have 3 preambles for these 10 ideas.
Yes.
What do you mean by this?
So we often think of democracy as a political sort of instrument, but if you actually think about it, it's just a system that sort of determines how we live together, right? So that sort of happens, and then I sort of frame the whole process into sort of how you build, for example, a car or any system. You know, you start out with infrastructure, and then you put in the software that basically makes it work. And then from that point on, it's really how do you make changes to it throughout time, right? So that's sort of how I view democracy and sort of our society as a system.
So you basically have the hardware, the software, and then what causes it to... So what's the third part? The hardware is obviously the infrastructure, right?
Right. I mean, the hardware is the infrastructure that you would test for stability, and then the software is basically how it makes it work. You know, but if you and I know that when you have a car, right, the car will get to a point where it doesn't work. The car will get to a point where there are hiccups. So then what are the processes to make sure it works throughout time and everybody who comes knows how to sort of run the car, right?
You started a presentation with a very horrible photograph. What is this? Why is this even important?
So this picture here is actually quite fascinating. You see this in a lot of places in Ghana, right? And off the top of our heads, we think, oh, government needs to do this, government needs to do that. But for you to get this, right, society has to be in a certain way. And unfortunately, the way I describe it is it's like a parking lot, right? If a parking lot is disorganized, right, here's the thing. If you build a whole house next to a parking lot that's organized, over about a year, the house will be disorganized. So this is really a reflection of us and how the society is organized, right? This is what you see, you know. So the society sort of has we lack the capacity to really solve somebody who sort of has taken the sidewalks off and is selling something on. We all see it. We are not able to do anything about it, right? We see the billboards. We are not able to do anything about it. Why? Because we have really not organized our society in a certain way that brings the best out of all of us, you know.
I see. You said that there's a very interesting analogy of a man whose house is burning.
Yes.
And 100 people in the town decide that they will each take a bucket to the riverside to quench the fire. But it doesn't work. And that there's a better way of doing that. And you say that's an analogy for the way our society functions. Can you explain that?
Yeah, so it's what I call the bucket brigade. You know, your house is burning down. The village has 100 people. Everybody wants to help. So everybody gets a basket. They all go to the river. They come out and they literally, guess what? They cross each other. They organize themselves in a very wrong way. And then the house burns down because they're falling over each other. Next time, somebody else's house is burning down, and this time around, somebody comes and said, no, we'll use just one bucket. So we form a line from the river all the way to the house. And guess what? So I take it, I give it to you, you give it to the next person, and go on. That brigade, that bucket brigade, then ends up basically saving the house. Why? Because we decide to actually organize to solve the problem. Right?
Okay, so you said if we want to understand the way Ghana works or a society functions, we need to differentiate between the hardware, the software, and the processes.
Yes.
Can you put some meat on this? So what's the hardware in this case?
Right. So the hardware is basically what I'll call the social infrastructure, right? Think about it right now. Hierarchy. How are we organized in terms of decision making, right? Things like our villages, our institutions, right? And then once you do that, then the question comes basically, what really are the values and the mindset that actually makes this whole thing work? Once you've done that, then the question is, are you learning from your mistakes, right? We have been through so much as a nation. Can we really honestly say that we have learned from our mistakes? I don't know. But what it is that we have to have processes that basically tells us how we move the society through time, right, as a group of, citizens.
So we have the hardware, which is the laws and the visible things.
Exactly.
You have the software, which is the culture and aligning values. And then the processes is how you move the hardware and the software through time.
Exactly.
So this is still a preamble to your 10 top ideas. You haven't come to the 10 ideas yet.
Yes.
You also said something. Effective social organization does so by building institutions that do 5 things. Let me look at what you said. Effective social organizations do so by building institutions that do 5 things. So you're talking about, if you want to build a country, you need to build institutions.
Yes.
So the difference between Ghana and China is institutions?
Yes. Well, there's a book that came out where they talk about institutions being very core. The guy was actually one of my professors who won a Nobel Prize.
Nobel Prize.
The challenge is this. If you have a dysfunctional society where there's disorganization of the society...
I think this is why nations fail.
Why nations fail, yeah. So if you build institutions... Assemble, yeah. So if you build institutions when the social organization is not there, the relationship between the people had not been set, they become brittle institutions. They don't work, right? So we have so many institutions that basically struggle. So all I'm saying is that there are core things that through different societies and whatnot, building institutions that leverage our capacity to be able to trust each other, B, institutions that channel our tendency for cooperation, right, collaboration, and then C, building a structure that basically is able to accept hierarchy. Think about
a structure that is able to accept hierarchy.
Yeah, think about it. Oftentimes we think we are a hierarchical society, but here's the thing. We are very ambiguous in that because we have chieftaincy, we have, National House of Chiefs, we have Council of State. We set up different things that literally the average citizen
It's not very clear.
It's not very clear.
The chain of authority.
No.
So we need to build trust. We need collective action, and then we need to understand hierarchy.
Exactly, and then embedding out our desire for fairness, impartial rules of laws. Every human being has that, but if you don't build it, it's not going to evolve into a society. And then finally, channeling our tendency for cooperation into constructive collective action. How do we really get ourselves to actually act? We've been talking about cocoa should be this, gold should be this, we should be number 1 in this, but there's no collective action. And that is because there's something about the way we've organized ourselves that is not allowing us to do that.
I want to go back to the previous slide because I have a question for you. If things are not working in the country, which one is the cause, which one is the effect? Is it the lack of values, that's the problem? Is it the lack of processes, that's the problem? Because I suspect this is an output.
Yes.
So that your laws and your buildings and your roads are a product of one of the two, but I'm not sure which is more important.
So think about it as this actually defining the relationships between the people and how we regard each of us, right? The average citizen, how do we regard them, right? And then the software really is the values that you are able to basically kind of work through in society and whatnot. What is important to you? When America says that they believe in freedom of speech and they come out and they say, listen, there's an American dream that actually came out of this mindset and set afire their development, right? When China talks about Confucianism, philosophy and whatnot, and Xi Jinping, they're all here, right?
So is this the starting point?
That's the starting point, and then you define the structures, right? What is a village in China, right? Who manages it in China, right? That's once you define that, then the processes is really just managing it, right?
I see. Now I'm going to move to something. So we've built the preamble, right?
Right.
Now you're saying that to bring Ghana to where we have to be, we have 10 ideas you want to examine. I gleaned that from your presentation. And these ideas, the first one is what you call decentralization. But I thought we had decentralizations. What do you mean? Can you explain? Can you elaborate?
So there's a sense that people think we have decentralization because somehow they have other systems, sort of other communities out there functions and whatnot. But here, if I ask you what a village is in Ghana, how would you define it? I don't know. You probably don't know, right? I don't know what a town is in Ghana. We can point to several towns, but we can point to a city. One of them has a mayor. The other one, Takoradi, doesn't have a mayor. Maybe Takoradi is not a city. Maybe it's a town. What it is that we have not defined what are the minimum amenities that a village should have. People live there. We have to make every citizen build their lives in these communities, connect villages to towns, from towns, connect them to the cities, right? That is how we connect sort of the whole country together and make sure it works. But we have to know what a village is and what the minimum set of amenities that village should have for people to be able to individually live their lives.
So we need clarity.
Right?
On
we need absolute clarity.
Our special organization.
Exactly.
And you don't think we presently do?
No, we don't. I'll give you an example. Take Accra.
Yeah.
How many municipalities do you think we have in Accra as a city? Take a guess.
Municipalities in Greater Accra or Accra?
In Greater Accra.
I don't even know.
Yeah. So
probably 20?
Yeah, you're about right. About 18 plus.
All right. Yeah.
New York probably is bigger than Accra. New York doesn't have 18.
How many does it have?
New York has 5 boroughs.
Queens and all those
Brooklyn,
places.
yeah. So
and Manhattan, they are just 5, and we have about 18.
We have about 18. So the question is, Accra is crowded not because there are too many people. It's because it has not been organized in a way that we all have clarity for it to work, right? So defining what a village is, town is, and city is.
So you said something in your presentation that the unit of organization is the district.
Yes.
So the district should be for organizing society,
exactly,
not for just allocating resources.
Exactly. I think one of the challenge that we have is that we somehow all assume that districts take care of towns and villages and whatnot. But in most countries, district is actually an organizing unit, meaning that the villages and the towns and all have representatives that come out to be the district. The district is very, very light. So it's a way of organizing the budget. But in terms of the actual work, there is a village manager, a town manager, and a city mayor that actually do the work.
I see. Right? Now, you said to solve the problem of overlapping structures in a modern and modernizing chieftaincy, we must use what you call the senior house solution. So let's describe the problem first. You're saying there's a problem of overlapping structures and chieftaincy that doesn't seem to be fit for purpose.
Right.
What problem are you solving? Because you created something you call the senior house.
Right.
So what do you mean by overlapping structures?
Okay. So think about what happens today. If Parliament passes a law, right? If the law is very contextual, what happens? It will go to the president. The president will have input, and oftentimes we say, okay, let's consult the Council of State, right? And then let's consult basically the House of Chiefs. So informally, we do these consultations. The problem is nobody knows what these other systems are supposed to be in terms of the hierarchy that actually we're all looking for. So that lack of ambiguity, it needs to be formalized, right? The House of Lords in the UK was a way they formalized their whole feudal system where they took a whole bunch of lords. So current House of Lords in the UK has about 50 lords in them. 50 of them are inherited, right? So all I'm saying is that let's remove the ambiguity and let's really use the things that are strengths in us, right? We have traditional leaders that have built basically communities and whatnot. We have national experts who have served the country well and beyond that. We have regional reps that we can have and really create a senior house.
Let's put them together into a senior house.
A senior house that gives absolute clarity.
So like a senior chamber.
It's like a senior chamber.
Of Parliament.
Right, but it's not for lawmaking. They do not make laws.
It's more advisory.
It's more advisory, So now what happens is that we all know how it all happens. We are able to tap into the benefits. You don't want a case where there's a fight between two communities and then you go and find some chief somewhere, and it's like, let's get, it ends up being siloed, right? That doesn't bring out the burst in the society.
So this will mean you scrap the Council of State.
This will mean you basically get rid of the council. Say you get rid of House of Chiefs, and you basically have one.
So this senior house is traditional leaders, regional reps, and national experts. Who selects them?
Okay, so the traditional leaders is very clear. The national expert basically becomes the recommendation that basically anyone can put in, the president can actually make. Usually based on expertise, right? You have somebody who's been a climate scientist for quite a while, and climate scientist is a very critical thing for the nation. So he gets tapped and he gets recommended. You identify a Ghanaian who's probably, an environmentalist who's very, gets recommended or whatnot. The benefit of having our best, right? Senior people involved.
And you even have a national number breakdown?
Yes.
So you have, it's just 50 seats?
Yeah, it's like just 50 seats. I mean, obviously, it's something that has to be discussed. But here, I look at it as 50 seats, right?
So paramount chiefs with proven success in community development are the first group. National experts, distinguished professionals, economists, engineers, health specialists, jurists.
Right.
To ensure, so like the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences type of people.
Exactly. And then, but more the practical side. Right.
Regional reps elected by assemblies. So this becomes your senior house.
Your senior house.
To replace the House of Chiefs
and the
Council of State.
Right.
And this helps to make the lawmaking process easier, or what does it do?
Well, what happens is that it actually clarifies the hierarchy in the society, right? So the society actually now knows sort of how, because a lot of ambiguity is what really destroys a lot of societies, right? It obviously becomes a very good way of solving a lot of critical problems for the country, right? Where you actually throw it to them, right?
So you also then said that, so we've done two ideas. The first idea has to do with decentralization.
Yes.
Second idea is to have a senior house. Then you also said we should bridge traditional and governance. I don't know if I have that here. Let me just check if I
think
this one
here.
Bridging tradition.
Exactly.
What is this?
Right. So think about right now, there are a whole bunch of people that we even get into assemblies that basically have no experience, right? Now, let me start here. If you have village managers, you have town managers and mayors, then you give an opportunity for people to actually say, no, I want to be a village manager, and gradually be very good at it, and then start looking for the next job as a town manager, start to be the mayor, and then we actually have a career ladder of people who actually know how to manage our neighborhoods.
So who is the cultural advisor?
The cultural advisor are basically the chiefs, right? So these are not paramount chiefs, but these are chiefs that literally we clarified the whole thing, and they actually have roles in helping maintain the tradition, cohesion, and mediation.
So you have
and
chiefs,
professional managers, the senior house are sort of
and parliament.
And empowerment.
So you don't abolish parliament.
No, you don't abolish parliament. Parliament is basically the one that basically makes the rules for everyone, right?
But somebody can say now we have the unit committees, we have the district assembly members. We have the district chief executive. We have the member of parliament. So it's like a similar thing, right?
Yeah, no, so this becomes the core of your district people, right? Because right now, the district assemblies, I don't know what they do except basically manage a district which nobody can go to and say, hey, my village doesn't have a library, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so here you actually get into the bottom and say, listen, let's put in the social actors that then will get together to form the district, right?
So let's bridge tradition and governance.
Exactly.
By putting chiefs, village, town, mayors, and parliament. Is this a hierarchy, by the way?
Yeah, so basically, it's not necessarily a hierarchy, but working with these guys and these guys actually going into the
you have another idea which I think is quite interesting. You say we should decentralize money.
Yes.
This is idea number 4. Decentralize money.
Yes.
And that solves the problem of over-centralized consolidated fund. Can you explain this?
So right now, our consolidated fund, which is already a central idea, is sort of based in the middle. So what happens is that it's very difficult to get money into villages, right? Now, if you define what a village is and what a town is and what a city is, then guess what? It becomes clear to what a budget should look like, right? And then you really then begins to say, okay, you know what, let's get to a process where we manage the differences between what locals generate and whatnot. Because right now, anything that goes into the consolidated fund, if there's a shortage, guess what? Somebody gets screwed and we never know what is happening, right? So all I'm saying here is that we have to have a way where the citizens and everybody has clarity in how the money gets allocated, not after the fact, but when it gets collected, not necessarily being managed as a central, but rather the difference is being managed. Some areas will have more generation of revenue, some areas will have little, and it will be, you know, you sort of basically close the gap by getting the more rich areas fund the more you know, poor areas and whatnot. Right?
I'm going to sit down, and then I'm going to come to the fifth idea. Now, that fifth idea is what you call decentralizing ministerial headquarters. And I'm going to take a short seat. So today we are going to the classroom. My guest is saying that he has 10 big ideas to reform Ghana. Some of the ideas are pretty interesting. We need to properly classify our towns. We need to have what is called a senior house, where we clarify hierarchy, because as in Ghana, we don't know who is who. And that senior house is like the House of Lords in the UK. That advises the parliament, gives it a chance to think through the laws again, and that type of thing. Then he's also talking about the need to merge tradition and governance in a more sensible way, so that the role of traditional leadership and district assemblies is merged. Then he says we should decentralize money. The consolidated fund is over-centralized, so money doesn't get to the bottom. Now, for me, the fifth idea is very important, and we'll discuss that when we come back. And what's the fifth idea? Decentralized ministerial headquarters in Ghana. So basically spread the ministries through different regions. I'm very interested in ideas around language as well, and our educational system. All of this and more when we come back on this special edition of The Point of View. Stay with us.
Announcing Ghana's first unlimited photocopier leasing. Yes, from just 983 Ghana cedis, you can lease a multifunctional photocopier and print unlimited. Yes, unlimited and free paper every month. Guess what? That's not all. Toners, repairs, and maintenance all are free. And oh, I'm not kidding at all. And we cover the whole country. Yes, the whole country. What are you waiting for? Just visit us at www.valexlease.com or call 0244 644048. Remember, terms and conditions apply. Valex Lease, affordable document management solutions.
Kwame and his uncle are almost here.
Wait a minute. This one too, your friend Kwame.
Wait, Kwame. As in the same Kwame again?
Yes, Mommy.
I'm the second coming. Into all this tension just to reintroduce that broke boy from Kaswa.
Why would you deceive the family like this again?
Now I understand the whole delay. Troll from Kaswa. Why wouldn't he be late? Or be late, of course.
Star 712 hash, star 712 hash. You go be the luckiest. Coffee from Georgia be luckiest. From not the cause she be luckiest. Yeah, you go be luckiest. No matter why you're luckiest. Everybody go be the luckiest.
That's Kwame!
Send your God the apple boom. If you put it at all, so would the coming of the Son of Man be. Is that his car?
Dial star 712 hash. Choose your ticket. Enter your lucky number. Follow the prompt and let destiny handle the rest.
This promotion is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform.
You've seen nothing yet. This Big Brother Naija Season 10. It's 10 times the drama, 10 times the rivalry, and 10 times the game. This is certified. No zero, no minus. Big Brother Naija Season 10. Showing 24/7 on DSTV and on GoTV. proud sponsor, Guinness.
Welcome back. We're still on the point of view. My guest is Dr. Hene Kwapong, who's been presenting some ideas to anybody who's willing to listen about how to change Ghana. And he's given us 4 of the 10. He's presented this to the president, to the Constitution Review Committee, and he's here to share with us some of those ideas. Idea number 5 is very popular with some people, decentralizing ministerial headquarters in Ghana. And this is, I think you need to talk about this. What is going on here?
Yeah, so, 50 to 100 years from now, we cannot afford to be like the UK, what it has right now, where you only have London as the major economic center, everywhere is struggling.
Yeah.
So what is happening is that Ghana has several areas that it really can create ecosystems of economy that really can build an economy that really will thrive. Right? So all I'm saying is that when it comes to these headquarters, right, it needs to be closer to where the economies could actually work, right? Ministry of Agriculture, I am proposing that it gets put in the northern region. Why? Some of the largest rice farms are actually up there. Shea butter and a whole lot of stuff that are exported.
So
right?
Send the whole ministry to the northern region.
Send the headquarters to the northern region where people, you have Techiman that's very close to it, right? You have Ministry of Tourism, right? A whole beautiful Volta region area and whatnot.
So send Ministry of Tourism to Ho?
To Ho. You then send Ministry of Energy to Takrady, Minerals Commission to Obuasi, Ministry of Fisheries to Takrady, Ghana Education Service to Cape Coast, where you have probably the most educational institutions and whatnot. But these are some things that basically helps.
What will this do?
Yeah.
How will this help?
So one, it creates local economies that actually create jobs in the hinterland, right? Avoiding a lot of people moving to
So which ministry will stay in Accra?
So Accra, you basically have the government sort of Minister of Foreign Affairs, the ones that basically
Ministry of Interior
and whatnot.
Attorney General.
Attorney General, you cannot be looking at doing something with fertilizer and then you get sent to Accra to go and talk about seed, to go and talk about fertilizer.
Agri should be in
Tamale, or even half of it could actually be in Sunyani, sort of covering that area, right? The Bono region. So, but this is something that if we don't do, I bet you 50 to 100 years from now, we'll be stuck like the UK, right?
Because Accra is too big in terms of its economic power.
Yeah, it's too big.
Regions.
It's an outside, and it basically does not work for a country that's trying to come out and basically take off and become like other countries that have done that, right?
All right, so the benefits include what you've listed here.
Exactly.
Balanced economic growth.
Right. And it helps you decongest Accra as well, right? And basically, now you know how you can actually connect the trunks of different roads and whatnot and actually have a much more vibrant economy.
All right. Now, you said something about from religion. Okay, before that, you said that number 6 idea is that we should change GNA. That the Ghana News Agency must be strengthened as one of your 10 top ideas.
Yes.
Why Ghana News Agency?
Yes. So think about what has happened to information in this age. Our weakness, the whole world, countries are taking very seriously information and basically all the cyber security problems and all the fact-checking, false information and whatnot.
Yeah.
A lot of the countries, China has its own news agency, Russia has TASS, US is very good at it, UK has BBC. But what it does is that it helps you actually channel the messaging and really be able to manage your narratives for that country, right? We don't have anything. GNA used to be so good. Now you put up a press release. What happens? You go to Facebook and you see a picture, right? And somebody has a statement. And the guy looks at it and says, I never said that. We cannot run a country like that. We cannot be in that situation. We talk about controlling our own narrative and our own story.
So you think the current media landscape doesn't build trust?
It doesn't. Not at all. It doesn't build trust. Because what happens is that you need a centralized, well-funded, that actually has a role of just really keeping the sanity going and allowing news organizations to build on top of it, right? You know, if AP News sort of releases something, Ghana government has to be releasing something. You can't have...
And you think that the Ghana News Agency is the institution that will lead that?
Well, it used to be the institution that was very reputable, right? It has actually run down. My thing is that there has to be something like the Ghana News Agency that everybody respects, right? That other countries respect, that Ghana, at least, you have a news agency that feeds your media and sort of really make sure that things are
Some would say the media landscape has changed, that this is going to be a very difficult thing to do. And this week we're discussing the GNA, and they are really struggling. But let's deal with idea number 7.
Right.
From religious and moral education to civic and moral education. I want you to really talk about this. What do you mean by this?
So here, you know, I always use this as an example that all of us, we know the value in training a child, right? I mean, I have the example of, you know, if I gave you a dog, right, and the dog came to your house and wasn't trained, it would destroy your property, right?
Yeah.
And this is what John Dewey talked about democracy. Democracy works because there's a certain type of education that makes it work, that is based on discipline, civic duty, and sort of now the whole digital stuff. In the US, a child from grade 1 would take civics all the way to high school. The same thing happens in South Korea, Japan, the Nordics. So education that actually emphasizes certain core traits is what allows us as individuals to be able to engage in democracy, right? And we are not doing it.
So without that type of education, democracy will not work?
You basically risk having the likes of basically brittle institutions, you know, if you don't take care, you can even have an authoritarianism, right? What happens is that we have an RME. I don't know how many of you have seen the RME syllabus. I have, and I've gone through it. And it actually emphasizes the 3 key important moral people in the society: pastors, malams, and fetish priests.
They are the 3 most important people.
In terms of morality. But the world is not like that. The world, you have to have a world where you're actually teaching your child. Religion, for me, should actually be the hallmark of our churches and mosques and whatnot, and they should do it well. But when it comes to society and democracy, we really need ethical.
So you think RME doesn't do it? RME doesn't do it. What is this? What is this saying?
So this actually showed us to sort of show when you look at civics and sort of expression of values where Ghana lies, right? So this is basically countries that struggle with traditional concepts and secular concepts, and countries that basically struggle with survival and self-expression, right? Where the survival bit is, we are a little afraid and whatnot. And Ghana actually shows up the bottom here, right? Now, this is somebody else's view, but it's a good view because it's somebody's view of how they're looking at all these countries, right? So my thing is that we have to actually get into getting serious about civic education and, in a sense, taking our traditional values and saying, how do we move it forward through time?
I see. So these are very interesting ideas. So what is civic education?
So I propose what I'll call civic and moral education.
Instead of religious and moral education.
Instead of religious and moral education.
Civic and moral education. CME.
Right? CME.
Which includes what?
So emphasizes ethics, citizenship, and leadership, right?
This should be the curriculum for CME.
Yes. In fact, I think if you go to the next slide, I'm not sure, but I think
ethics, citizenship, and leadership.
Exactly. So the 5 core themes that I suggest, basically, moral and ethical decision-making, citizenship, civic engagement, social media ethics, ethical leadership, work ethics, environmental and social responsibility. Our galamsey and our billboards that are all over the place is a reflection of our relationship with the environment. And that's because we really haven't taught that to our children. So we really don't value the environment as a place where we basically make our living, get our food, and all that.
So there are 5 core themes of your CME.
Core themes
ethics,
of the CME.
Civics, digital, leadership, and environment.
And the environment,
And from what level should this be taught? Primary school?
No, for me, I think this actually to start from primary school all the way to senior high, but in different levels, right? Such that by the time somebody actually finishes SHS, they would have actually had every year an opportunity to actually engage in that and really understand what it means for you to be a citizen, responsibility of being a citizen, right? That's what you're seeing in the picture. When you see the environment destroyed, these are the people. This is us.
So civics is very crucial.
Very, very crucial. Ethical leadership, work ethics. I don't know how to control corruption, but I know this. If the average Ghanaian is well educated in ethics and work ethics, guess what? I will have better productivity. I'll have decision making. I'll have citizens who literally know how to have civil engagement. There'll be less of fist fights and more of discussions, right?
So this is idea number 7. We should change
Yes.
RME to CME.
Yes.
Let me deal with your 8th idea, which is, as we come to an interesting close, you've discussed, by the way, you are saying if this is done, the 12 traits of an ethical citizen will be these things.
Yeah.
Right? These are the kind of citizens we produce. Okay, cool. Now, we should redefine hometown for modern Ghana. We should redefine a hometown. What do you mean by this?
So every country has this problem, right? Somebody asks you where you're from, and in most countries
you mentioned where my father is from.
You say where my father is from,
My
and then
hometown.
you struggle with where your mother and your father is from. But the fact of the matter is that, would you want to have citizenship by birth, which is location, or by ancestry, right? Well, if you have citizenship by ancestry, where my mother and parents from, well, you get counted census where?
In
Accra,
yeah.
right? Meanwhile, the place where you are from, they don't have you to be counted. Or you go there to be counted, and then the place where you live, you're chopping the money there, but you don't have the counting. So all I'm saying is that most countries have worked very hard, and I'm saying let's really begin to define on ID cards and whatnot, citizenship by where you were born, usually, right?
Citizen by where you were born.
Where you were born, right? That way, your responsibility lies in where you're born. Most towns, in a lot of places, you take Barcelona, it was built by people who lived there. Our own Columbus, who supposedly crossed, whatever.
Atlantic Ocean.
Ocean. He's Italian, but he went and lived in Catalan. And guess what? That's where he built his home. That's where he built, and that's where he helped build it, right?
So we should define your hometown based on where you live, not based on where
you are from.
Why
right?
is this important?
Well, it is important. In fact, if you go to the next slide, I'll show you. So here's most countries where you're born is but in Ghana, somehow by ancestry.
Okay.
Right? So that really restricts basically the idea of community, neighborhood, and really being invested in that neighborhood and saying, listen, I live in Accra, I'll participate in Accra, I'll run for mayor in Accra, I'll run for village manager in Accra, I'll run for town manager wherever I was born, right? So that is that clarity. Right now, we have a very ambiguous system that literally messes up our own senses.
So everybody goes to their hometown 24.
Everybody, especially if you can find the food there and the funerals are better there, you end up going there, right? But what happens is that, luckily for us, our children are beginning to recognize the importance of location.
So it's not too bad that our children are becoming Accra babies.
Yeah, they are realizing that actually I need to be where I was born. So, which is a good thing. So the more we sort of transition, the better basically the society becomes stronger and more
people
stable.
Should focus on where they live and not where they are from.
Exactly.
And the benefits will be what you call a national cohesion.
Yeah, improved governance and service delivery, right?
Reduce
tribalism and discrimination, simplified administrative processes and all that stuff, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's deal with idea number, I think it's 8.
So,
or is this number 9? Idea number 9.
This is actually idea number 9.
Idea number 9.
Yeah.
Then we wrap up with idea number 10 after the break.
So this is, every country has had this in history. What
Our Tower of Babel
problem, right?
Language.
Ghana has about 80 indigenous languages, right? Tanzania had 70. What Tanzania did, Nyerere did, was that he went outside and took Swahili and basically make it whatever. But here, what I'm suggesting is that there's a problem where we have 28% who actually speak English fluently, right? And it's been traced not that they cannot speak it, but because of the fragmentation of the languages, it creates a problem where communication among us is very difficult. So what I propose is actually what I'll call the 3-model language structure, which a lot of countries have done, right? South Korea, when they first became independent, cleaned up their whole languages, created a whole language, replaced the Chinese and whatnot. Singapore, had 8 languages. They decided to just choose one to back English, and everybody can speak. So Singapore has a 3 model. So I am suggesting that Ghana, we also do the 3 model.
3 model.
Yeah, to really help.
So which would be the 3? Your native language.
Yeah.
At
So
home.
I think if you go to the next, I'll show you
the 3 model.
So go to right. Yeah. So the 3 model basically has your native language. So everybody who's born gets their native language. You speak your native language. And then basically the next language is basically a new language that I'm proposing we create.
You are proposing a new language?
Yes.
That we create.
I am proposing that we create a new language. And the funny thing is that actually I did this where I put together Chi, Ga, Ewe, and Dagbani, right? And I had a group of linguists sort of look at it for me and work on it.
To create a new language.
A new language. And funny enough, the root of all these, so it's not by chance that if you say Imba or Meba, there's not a chance that it's
they have the
not
same
by
root.
chance.
They are called the Kwa languages.
Exactly. But what it is that if we're bold enough and we really want to develop, right, then for me, we need that language to really be able to say we will sort of merge it together. And I'm proposing sort of what I'll call, for lack of a better word, I'll call it Langa Langa, as sort of the language.
Triga, Ewe, and Dagbani merged.
Yes.
And have these guys done the work you asked them to do?
Yes. And I think I'll show you a bit of some of the sentences and whatnot.
Oh, there's a sentence in there?
Yeah, there's a sentence in there. Okay, so this is the 3-tongue model, right? So the 3-tongue model, number 1 is your mother tongue, which you always have. Number 2 is the Ghana lang, which is the new language. And number 3 is English, right? So obviously, once you create sort of a national language institute, then you're able to move it forward. If you go to the next slide, I think that's where I'll show you an example.
I didn't have.
I think that we took, but there's a sentence that basically I give to people, and when you look at it, you're like, oh, okay, I understand this, and there'll be like a 1 or 2 letters that you need to learn.
I'm going to.
I'm going to tell you something very beautiful, right?
Yes.
And it's almost like mebeka wonyonyo, right?
Oh.
And then you're like, okay, I know, okay, you mebeka wonyonyo, and then you quickly recognize that, okay, the nyonyo and mebeka.
Nyonyo is ewe. Something good, but mebeka is tree.
Exactly.
And then there will maybe some guy hidden there.
Exactly.
Wow. Yeah. So you are saying that everybody can speak their mother tongue at home.
Everybody can speak their mother tongue.
We should create a Ghana language which merges our 4 main languages. I'm sure some people have issues with that.
And here's the thing, Bernard. If we dare to be bold to do this, I kid you not, the transformation that can happen in this country and put us on the map and how the simplicity.
So your point is that we shouldn't just move from me speaking ever at home to English. We need something that unites us.
Exactly.
And you don't think English can unite us?
Yeah. No, what happens is that not so much that English uniting you as much as basically these languages here and the meanings of it, being able to standardize it across such that we all understand it, right?
Wow.
So that's what sort of is making you then really appreciate.
So they've created this language already. This your language.
Yes,
500 people.
500 pages.
500 pages.
Yeah.
Of a new language.
Yes.
And you call the language Langa Langa.
Yes. You know.
Wow.
Indonesia did something like that. Tanzania did something like that, right? So what I'm just saying is that we cannot keep fighting over words and
whether Akwaba or
whether Akwaba or whatever. You know, exactly. What it is that we have shared values and we have shared destiny. 1,000 years from now, you know, we all have to be around as a country.
Let's do the last one.
Right.
The last one, since I've run out of time.
Yes.
You are saying we should change NDPC to something else?
Yes. So in the Constitution, NDPC is basically a planning commission, right? It does not work for our modern world, right? We need an institution that actually can manage the multiple of projects that are being done. Let
me take a break. When we come back, we'll deal with that point, and then we'll summarize. We're talking about 10 ideas to create a better society. These are interesting. We are creating a language called Langa Langa, which merges all the languages. Very interesting ideas. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Remember who we are singing now. At risk of prostate enlargement. We remember oha 20 ebitimi prostate cancer. 5 bitimi afamu nadia obefamu.
Actually, this is not my fault.
And to wada, entina midi manichi Executive Prostate Center.
Executive Prostate Center is a unique medical center where we harmonize in-depth traditional medicine with cutting-edge science and technology to cure, to treat, and to prevent diseases like prostate enlargement, prostate cancer.
Executive Prostate Center. Madame, facilities no any professional medical care.
Sisi a bibia clear wo system ni. Ye nro ne so de natural. Into we koso afa ma ye.
Executive Prostate Center. My cured.
Kwame and his uncle are almost here.
Wait a minute. This one too, your friend Kwame.
Wait, Kwame. As in the same Kwame again?
Yes, mommy.
The second coming. Into all this tension just to reintroduce that broke boy from Kaswa.
Why would you deceive the family like this again?
Now I understand the whole delay. Troll from Kaswa. Why wouldn't he be late? Or be late, of course.
Star 712 hash, star 712 hash. You go be the luckiest. Go be from Georgia, be luckiest. From not the cause she be luckiest. Me and you go be luckiest. No matter why you're lucky. Everybody go be that luckiest.
God, Kwame!
Send your God the apple boom. If you put it toye, so would the coming of the Son of Man be. Is that his car?
Dial star 712 hash. Choose your ticket. Enter your lucky number. Follow the prompts and let destiny handle the rest.
This promotion is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform.
Welcome back. So my guest has 10 ideas for Ghana by way of constitutional reform. He says, number 1, decentralize and classify your communities better. Village, town, city. It must be clear. Number 2, solve overlapping structures and modernize chieftaincy through something he calls a senior house. 50 people who will be part of a bicameral system who replace Council of State. It includes traditional leaders, experts, and regional reps. Number 3, bridge tradition and governance. So you have the cultural leaders, the leaders who are administrative leaders, and then the members of parliament in one beautiful continuum. Number 4, decentralize the money. The DACF is too centralized. So some people call it fiscal decentralization. Number 5, decentralized ministerial headquarters in Ghana. Send the Agric Ministry to the north, Fisheries Ministry to the western region, tourism to the Volta region, lands and natural resources to Ashanti region. Keep only the administrative ministries in Accra. Don't create a UK problem where over 40% of the economy is London. Don't do that with Ghana. Number 6, reform GNA. The GNA, or you need a broadcaster, a national broadcaster that rebuilds trust. There's too much fragmentation in the media. Then it says, change RME to CME, religious and moral education to civic and moral education. Very controversial indeed. It says that civics is very key to create an ethical citizen who's taught leadership and environment. And then redefine your hometown to be where you live, or not where you were born. Or not, to where you were born, not where you are from. So you are contributing to where, so all of us are from Accra, on the basis of what you say, at least a lot of you who are listening from Accra, all right? And then create a national language. This is the most interesting one. Create a national language where you're basically saying that your local language or your mother tongue is what you speak at home. We merge the languages into one, which has different components, because, by the way, all languages have the same roots, right? Most of our languages have the same roots. Ebetriga, predominantly are called the Kwa group of languages. We're dealing with number 10. NDPC needs to change to NEDC. So this is the final idea. What's wrong with the current NDPC?
So the current NDPC in the Constitution is sort of a planning commission. It really doesn't do delivery of huge projects, right?
Yeah.
And we all know there are projects that are delivered in siloed. Even when you change government, some projects get abandoned and whatnot. All we're saying is that you need a National Economic Development Corporation, that the core piece of it is where a lot of the thinking happens, a lot of the issues get thought through, and a lot of the development happens. You do a lot of the national project delivery and monitoring there, right? Where they can tell you what projects really are being run across the country. They can cost it all. If there's an idea, we throw it to them, they work on it, they have budget oversight, the whole value for money scoring. We do it, but nobody knows who does it, right? And then obviously there are overlaps and consolidations that can happen. How do you really do feasibility studies and say, okay, it cannot be every ministry that has something to deliver, here is your project manager. Here is where the thinking and the sort of the brain of the country lives. And
which countries have used this?
Rwanda has this, Japan has this, Singapore has this, a lot of countries, even New York State has this, because I worked there as a senior vice president in New York Economic Development Corporation. We delivered a lot of big projects in New York for the different ministries, right?
Wow.
And so that's something that I believe that we need to have, right?
So this is your conclusion. So, by the way, how does this affect constitution review? So did you send this out? Because constitution review is more like changing the laws, right?
Yes.
This is more like a model for national transformation.
Yes. So what I did is that for each idea, I actually sent the constitutional review an actual write-up of how the constitution would look like if it was done.
I get you.
Right. Yeah. So each of them has sort of an actual, you go through the constitution. I took the whole constitution and basically said it should be inserted here. It should do this. And of course, Kwesi Prempeh forced me to do it. So I ended up doing it.
So you've translated this into what laws must change.
Exactly. What must change in the constitution to sort of.
The language one is very interesting for me.
Yeah.
So we are creating a new language.
Yeah. I mean, Bernard, think about it. Countries are difficult to build, but if you cannot do the biggest lifts, then there's no need for us to be a country. I mean, come on, Lithuania, Latvia, and all these guys, they never even had English. But because they wanted to develop, decided English would be a language that they bring into their three-language model.
So a lot of countries are doing this three-language model thing.
I mean, you need to.
Is there any African country that has done it?
Oh, well, Tanzania.
They have Swahili.
They have Swahili. It wasn't their language. They had nothing to do with Swahili. Nyerere just said, hey, it's a good language, let's bring it in, and they adopted it.
Wow.
Right? I mean, Singapore, Lee Kuan Yew said it. He said, if I had not chosen Mandarin for us, half of us will not be understanding each other now.
And so you think national cohesion is the most important thing?
National cohesion affects delivery, development. It affects a way of life, like you know. I mean, think about it. Countries have gone through a lot to get there. So for me, this is the least we could do to actually get to a point where our society and tribes are able to learn from each other, have cohesion, and really, really build a country that we've never seen before. You know, we don't want to be like Singapore. We don't want to be like Malaysia. We want to be like Ghana that we can imagine.
Wow.
Right? And for me, it's one of those projects that deserves our attention.
So this is Ghana reimagined.
Yes.
A modern Ghana for everyone, genuine decentralization, clean water in every district. We'll think through this, and hopefully it will make more sense as the days progress. We'll be speaking to Dr. Hene Kwapong, who is, what are you?
I'm a Ghanaian.
It's all kinds of things. He studied science, and now he's into very solid ideas, and he sent some of these ideas to the Constitution Review Committee and to the President as well. Pick one or two and discuss with your friends. Send us a text message and let's read from you later on. Thanks for watching tonight's edition of The Point of View. My name is Bernard Avile. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.